Good morning. Good morning. And thank you so much for this invitation. Malcolm has already given you the definition, and I won't repeat it, but still, can we have, oh yeah. Yeah, what it is and what it is not. Yeah, so I think I don't have to repeat this. There are only two things that keep once in a while, but that's not part of the BN's definition, but that it should become a legal right and not just a scheme. And as Hilda was mentioning, a human right to be treated as a human right and non-withdrawable, that it's not subject to change by the governments. Okay, what is BN? BN, Basic Income Earth Network, is a global network of scholars, activists, and artists, and not necessarily in that order. It builds synergies between academics and policymakers, which means that academics and activists actually try to solve the practical problems and engage with policymakers. And also, given the new challenges that we have today, we need innovation in the research as well. So what kind of new questions we should ask, what kind of new solutions we should try to bring about. So we do that. And it's also dissemination. We have BI News. We have a news service, reliable information on basic income. As rightly pointed out by Malcolm, I think there's a lot of stuff the words are being used by anybody and everybody. So it's important to give reliable information and also stick to what the definitions are and what we mean by a basic income. And building partnerships with different kinds of stakeholders. That's what BN is. Now, who is BN? We have about 400 individual members scattered all over. It was established in 1986, and about 40 affiliate organizations, which are local organizations in 34 countries and covering all the 6 continents. There are 3 generations of academic artists and political activists invested in accelerating human emancipation. That is the key word, actually, who are invested in it, who are working towards it, and both as academics and also as on the streets to fight for a better world. And operationally, we have an executive committee to look after everyday affairs, but all of us are basically volunteers. We are just beginning. This June, we hired 2 people. I'll come to that. For the first time in 36 years, we hired somebody and we have paid staff. Where are we coming from? It was established by a group of academics and artists and activists. And just to give a glimpse of where we come from, in the 80s, against the backdrop of what was happening at that time, particularly in Europe, on the one hand, there was disillusionment about socialism. On the other hand, there was the rise of neoliberal policies, Reaganomics, and Thatcherite kind of policies. In a context like this, there was a search for thinking about human emancipation in a very different ways. So this is a very interesting article written by 2 co-founders, Robert van der Veen and Philip Wampari, which is A Capitalist Road to Communism. So they tried to make a proposal that basic income could be that. So it's not that we are against capitalism, but we want to humanize capitalism. We want a new capitalism, a capitalism that doesn't begin with 0. It doesn't begin at 0. So a capitalism where you have something, a basic foundation, and then you participate in the labor market if you want to, and have the power not to participate in the labor market. That's the whole point about the freedom we talk about. So, that's what I call political imaginary. I think all of us utopians, or all of us who want a better world, we do create an imaginary, and we try to work towards that imaginary. So like a socialism was a political imaginary, so a basic income society is also an imaginary. We have imagined that and we want to implement that. And today seems to be, right after 36 years, even our founders feel so good that it is being discussed all over the world. The time seems to have come for a basic income. So what is it that we are doing now? We are still struggling. The reason why we are here is because we are still struggling to make sense of the current mode of capitalism and trying to understand how, and trying to see how people can become equal partners in this whole system, in the so-called the new industrial society 4.0, or some people say 5.0, I mean, whatever it is. Okay? Okay, why are we here? We are here because we are invested in future. We are very seriously invested in future. We would like to understand in which direction we are going, in which direction humanity is going, and what kind of challenges we are going to face in the next 20, 30, 40 years. I mean, it seems to us that, it seems to me that different kinds of crises are going to come together. We are on the brink. On the one hand, we have the climate crisis. On the other hand, you have the employment crisis, work crisis. In the future society, are we going to have the jobs? Are they going to disappear? What kind of a world it's going to be? If there are not going to be many jobs, if all jobs are going to be gig jobs, what are people going to do? Where will they get their basic income security from? Who is going to pay them? Okay? So, I mean, we are here because we want to talk about what we mean by basic income. I think that's what Malcolm started, and that's what we are continuing. Now, when the corporates try to talk about universal basic income, or the big icons like Elon Musk or Mark Zuckerberg, when they try to, or even Y Combinator people talk about basic income, what exactly do they mean by it? Do they mean the same as what we are saying? Do they mean, but what else is there? I mean, why are corporates interested in it? I mean, there's a very interesting author called Tim Wu. He wrote a fascinating book in 2010. He's a law professor in Columbia University. It's called, I'll quickly go there. Yeah, it's called Master Switch. He wrote a very interesting book called Master Switch, where he says, invention breeds history, and invention breeds industry, and industry begets empire. Which means every invention starts with young people, utopians, dreamy-eyed, and then in their garage or somewhere, and then slowly, all those individuals disappear, and then industry takes over. And then industry results in an empire. The moment I say empire, I mean the monopolies. So I think the other day when we were talking about, when one of the presentations was being made about the privacy, how the privacy will be protected in this new Web3, how it will be decentralized. The question is that who is interested in decentralizing? Why are they interested in decentralizing? Are we really interested in giving that power back to people? Is that the motive? Or is it the customer base? You're creating a customer base first, you decentralize, and then you start selling things to them. Okay, so the question is that in the Web3, there are many promises being made in that Web3 is going to be X, Y, Z, and very optimistic notes are there. There are also very skeptics of Web3 that all this is a big hype and it's nothing great is going to happen, I think, at the end of the day. So I think it's a very controversial. I think that's exactly why we want to be in that space as a voice on behalf talking about. See, this is how I think plenty of claims being made, basic income coin and basic income experiment and blockchain instead of beggars, so on and so forth. So I think it's important that we open conversations on these, on many questions related to ethics. I'll just read out to you this statement that too many underprivileged people are locked out of opportunities that could take them out of poverty, including access to capital markets and digital work opportunities. Therefore, The Good Dollar Project aims to elevate that by fostering financial inclusion and empowerment around the world. Is it a promise to eliminate poverty? Is it a real promise? Are they going to live up to that promise? So I'm not trying to portray this as any danger, but I'm trying to say that we need to ask these questions. This is what, I mean, The Master Switch. I think it's a very fascinating book because it talks about the master switch is with like Facebook or people who are controlling data. And there is, after a point he talks about, a syndicate of master switches because all the small switches have been taken over by them, all the inventors, all the young utopians, and everything is swallowed by this big machine. And then that becomes the master switch. And then several master switches kind of form a syndicate. Is it really meant, we're talking about poverty, is it really, I think we will also come to other experiences we have had. We need to open these questions. Now, the question is that, is it possible to build a caring society? At the end of the day, that's what matters. Can we build a capitalism that will be a caring society? Provide care to the last person. That is the most important thing. Decentralized future of BN. We are now creating in different continents BN hubs so that we try to build again from the bottom up and bring questions from all continents to the center, to BN, and try to address those questions rather than a priori give questions to others. So we are creating that. That is the future we see. And I think we have great possibilities of collaborating with people who are working on blockchain technologies and the technologies of the future. So the question is that, is a better world possible? And if that is possible, what kind of synergies we can build, what kind of partnerships we can build, what kind of collaboration we can have with people working on technology. Thank you so much.
Does anyone have questions for Saad on everything that was just discussed? No? None? Okay. Thank you so much for your time, Saad. Thank you for that introduction.
Thank you.